One, two, hello, welcome, good evening, wherever you are. I believe you can hear me very clearly this evening. You are very, very welcome. Let me formally, address you as a leader if you are joining us here at a very, very important time as this very, very quickly. We're going to go very, very straight because of time. I want to keep to the time. We have 1.5 hours for this class, and I want to really welcome you again and again. The next couple of weeks ahead of us, I believe that we have about 5 slots where we're going to be offering this leadership training program for as many people that will register and come on. So if you have registered, then you are a leader, and I want to really formally welcome you as that. Hopefully, as we begin and continue within it, you will gain a very deep understanding. My name is Kofi Amwatin. I am the lead facilitator at this Empower to Lead training program. I also double up as a pastor in the city of Bradford, United Kingdom, at the New Joy International Gospel Church. As well, I myself, my wife, we run one of the major African restaurants in the city where we are, as well as other businesses, coaching businesses that I run as well. So you are really, really welcome. I'm going to be sharing a bit of notes with you as we go forward together. So to make the class very, very fluid for us to run through the class as well. So I will encourage you to get yourself some notepads if you can. That would be beautiful, so that you can really, really take some notes and make it very easy for yourselves. Along the line, there are some very young leaders that are being trained that are going to appear in the studios. They are going to be with us. But if you are joining us on YouTube and you have registered, you are equally a leader, and hopefully we can build something from there. Like I said, if you have any questions, as some of you have already been doing, you can use the comment section of your phone or of your laptop or computer or desktop to ask the question, and hopefully we will be able to answer you with the technical team behind me here that will be able to help to answer you as well. So I want you to again welcome to the Empower to Lead training program. Why are we doing this? I want to share very quickly about 10 things and the 10 reasons why, or one key reason, but 10 characteristics why this is being done for the very, very first time. This is not the very first time of running the Empowered to Lead training, but this is the very first time where I've had an inclination to really do this on a massive scale, free of charge to as many people that can take advantage of this. So whether you are in the church, out of the church, whether you are in the corporate world, I believe that many of the things that we are going to share here really is going to add value to your life as a leader, as we move forward. Okay. I hope everybody can hear me very clearly. Please let me know on your comment section if you can hear me, and that will be very, very great. So if you can hear me, unless, so that I don't just talk to myself. I know everything is in place. Yeah. But if you can hear me, that's great. Yes. Even if I get one person to speak to me, that will be very good. Okay. Thank you. All right. So let's establish some basic rules, which I've said. If you have any question, if you have any contribution, use your comment section there, to get back to me on them, and then hopefully we can pick it up from there. Other than that, we are moving straight into it. I'm not going to waste time. The reason why I am doing this, even before we start, is because of this. Last year I turned 40. Last year I turned 40. Okay, fantastic. Um, Last year I turned 40. Those of you who are joining us from the student group, please, if you go into the student group, there is a studio link that I've sent to you. So please, I want you to be here with me. So if you can, that would be fantastic. All right. If not, we move forward from there. When I turned 40, I had a visitation from God. And I say that because it is true and I mean it. And in that visitation, to give you a very simple summary of it, the visitation I received was this: I want you to train a new generation of leaders for me for revival purpose. That is it. So this is it. He said, I am tilting your purpose in life. My assignment so far over the last 15, 17 years, I've been training leaders, of course, but my assignment really is to help people to find themselves and to discover their purpose. That has been my main assignment, be it ministry, and that is how come the coaching, especially the AFAP coaching, where it is all about finding purpose, came to being, where I've trained many people. But there has been a tilt, or there has been a sharp curve that has come onto this after that visitation. I'm in my 41st year, and this is running for about a period of 1 year. And so, for the very first time, we are about to do something that we've not done before, which is this. And at the end of it, we are going to also have um, a very strong leadership conference that is going to be continuing as well. And so, the main reason I'm doing this is because God is raising a new generation of leaders for revival. A new generation of leaders for revival. That is what God is raising. So I believe that if you have registered by choice and you are here, then I strongly believe that you are part of that generation that God wants to raise, and God is about to raise in a very, very strong way. And I kindly would love you to take whatever we'll be sharing here very serious, because you are a leader, and you understand why I say you are a leader as we progress and as we go on, as we go on as well. So this is the main reason why I believe strongly that we are doing this. And there are 10 things that defines this group of people, which I believe it pertains to you, that I would love you to take it very serious. It is so important that I just published 2 books, and in one of the books, the relevant church. Those of you who have this book, you will find out that I believe it is the 9th chapter. I write about a revival generation that I am going to share briefly with you, even before we start the program and start the course. So very strongly, the first reason, as you can see, is that this new generation must begin to see problems as opportunities. So, as you are listening and you are joining the class, I am defining something to you to be part of it. God is very serious about the generation that he is empowering, a generation that he is bringing on board, a generation that he himself is raising. One, this generation must begin to see problems as opportunities. Please write it down. Number two, this new revival generation that we are talking about, leaders, must be highly characterized by prayer, fasting. So if you are here, please bear in mind these very core 10 key things under one revelation that I had as well. They will be characterized by prayer, fasting, and holiness. And they must pursue to carry not just being leaders, but they must carry the pure and the fire of the Holy Spirit. I call it the naked fire of the Holy Spirit. Three, this new revival leaders, this new revival generation of which you are part of it and you are here today, they must have a strong purpose and they must have a strong vision. They must have a strong purpose and they must have a strong vision. Very, very strongly, a strong purpose and a strong vision. And we will be talking more about that. Number four, this new revival generation, the exciting thing that I sense is that God himself is going to provide for this generation. And this is where I love. I won't go into the scripture part of it, but I believe that if you are taking notes, I believe strongly that you can take notes, so it will be very easy for you to further on take this very, very serious as well as we move forward. So number five, this revival generational leaders I'm talking about, of which we have gathered here, must be alert, must be aware, and they must be awakened, and they must be active. Coincidentally, they all start with A, but I'm not playing with words. If you are you want to rise as a leader on this platform, as you are joining, as you can see many of you joining and coming on, you must be very, very alert. You must be very, very aware, informative. You must be very, very awake. There is a lot of young people, especially that are sleeping in this very day. And if you are to move and become that kind of generational leaders God is raising, and let me say this, these generational leaders God is raising are not just going to be pastors alone. These generational leaders God is raising, I see them in the hospitality industry. I see them in the engineering industry. I see them in the medical field and all these areas and all these dimensions. I am seeing all of them in a very, very strong way. So don't just limit yourself. And I don't know where you see yourself going, but as a leader, you are part of this. I'm going to really, really be speaking very deeply on these things, on these things very, very clearly and very, very deeply as well. Amen. Number six, this new revival generation must be very discerning, must be very sensitive, very, very discerning of the time, very, very sensitive of the time as well. Okay, you must be very discerning and you must be very, very sensitive to the core, this new generational leaders that we are talking about. That is the reason why we are seated down here, and I will take you deeper. Number seven, this new revival generation might recognize a need and cooperate fully for the greater goods. In other words, some of you, as we are training, you are going to form part of team. Now, if you can see on the screen, I've invited some people into the studio for this very purpose, because there is a team of students, leaders that we are raising also around us, that I want them to understand very deeply. And so if you are joining us on YouTube, fantastic, you can see them on there. But also to help to share with you, because I've been noticed that a lot of you have been registered that are not in for instance, in a church, but you are somewhere, you are a different church, you are in a different group that you are joining us. That is fantastic. I want you to understand that you cannot live alone. And so there is a team that God wants to be raised, that will go out there in the hospitals, in the engineering, in the police force, in every institution that you can really, really think about. Really, God is raising a new generational leaders for this. And I want this to guide us as we move along. You can take down the scriptures. For those of you who are Christians, you can open these things, because many of the and all of the leadership secrets that I'm about to share with you are coming from the Bible. And I have used it personally as I introduced myself in the corporate world. There had opportunity to lead and to train in the corporate world as well with these principles and secrets, and they have been of very, very massive help and massive use. Anywhere I've tested them, I have been successful with them, including my own personal businesses. And so I want you to take this as very, very important. Number 8, God himself recognizes that people are the greatest resources needed to achieve his purpose. And that is the reason why he is raising, as you can see on the top, a new generation of leaders for revival. And I believe that you are part of it. You are welcome. Make sure you get your notepad to make some notes, to write something down. I believe that after this, you can also watch the video again, but it is exclusively to those of you who have registered. Number 9, this new revival generation will rise and build with speed, because time is not on our side. So what I'm seeing in a form of a vision, within the next 5 years, I see massive leaders rising, and they are going to build with speed. They are going to build with speed. So note what I'm talking about, because of these 10 characteristics that surround this one generation or one leadership team God is raising. It does not matter whether you are in Africa, in Europe, whether you are in America or the Pacific. These characteristics must be there. So what I'm telling you is that you must, I keep using must, not because I want to insult somebody, no, but I want you to understand that you must push yourself there. And I am really excited that you have taken that decision to register and come here. It is free. At least you don't lose anything, but you are giving your time to it and you are positioning yourself. And I'm saying that these 10 things that I'm listing with you right now, you must pull yourself there. It must be a must in your life. I want to be there. I want to rise and build with speed. Number 10, God is raising a new revival generation that must be balanced. And this is one of the ones that I like, especially for us who are coming from the church into this leadership group. One of the problems I've seen in the church is that we are very, very unbalanced. In other words, sometimes we are tilted towards just the spiritual side, leaving the physical side down. And sometimes we are tilted only on one side, leaving that side. But I see a generation God is raising that will be balanced. Today I was talking to somebody in my personal coaching mentoring sessions, that when you look at Jesus from us in the Christian side, when you look at Jesus, there are two aspects of Jesus. There is the person of Jesus and there is the principle of Jesus. And what is the difference? The person of Jesus gives you salvation, it gives you peace, it makes you righteous. But then when Jesus walked on earth, there is also the parables of the principles of Jesus. And the principles are for leadership. The principles are for rising and leading. So when I mean there must be a balance, there must be a balance in such that we must take advantage of the person of Jesus, and we must take advantage of the principles of Jesus. I don't want to raise a Christian leaders, or I don't want to raise leaders to the world that are very unbalanced. I want to raise leaders in the world that can go very far to become medical doctors by leadership and by purpose. But as medical doctors, they are also fully filled with the Holy Spirit, and they are filled with the fire of the Holy Ghost as well. And so that when you are looking at after a patient, you are in this balance. Maybe you are an engineer, you want to go into the engineering field and engineering dimension. You can be there in a very balanced way where your education can take you there, but then your principles as well will help you to lead in that field, and you also become that. If you're a pastor, the same thing. This is the kind of leadership that I believe that God is raising in these very last days, So for what is ahead and what is coming, and I mean within the next 3 5 years. As I'm speaking, it has started. Some of you are getting positions and doors opening to different places, and you it's better to equip yourself for what is ahead, and you must first begin to see yourself as a leader as we go on. I don't know whether there is a question that somebody wants to ask, or which one of it reminds you of something that maybe you are dreaming of yourself, that you are amplifying. You can use your comment section um, to let us know if you have any questions. But again, very quickly, now I want to take you to the course that we are about to take within the next 5 weeks. I believe that the material and the mentorship here goes beyond 5 weeks, but the next 5 weeks I'm giving it for free as far as we can go, for you to have a deeper understanding. Okay. So when we talk of the this empower to lead, with what we have said, the vision now, as you can see on your screen, our vision is raising kingdom servant leaders into great agents of change. This is our vision. And so if you are here, in the next 5 years, in the next 6 years, we want you to be seen as a kingdom leader, into an agent of change. In other words, raising 21st century leaders who have Christ at the center of them, and they are going into the world to change the world. That is what I mean by a revival generation, to really, really change the world and to make the world a better place to live. So this is our vision, and our purpose, therefore, is our purpose and our strategy, as you can see there, is to identify potential leaders. And that's why I began by saying that you are a leader. You are a leader. I want us to identify potential leaders, and you are the reason why we are doing this. Wherever you are tuning in across the world, you are a potential leader. Number two, we want to provide an opportunity for growth. We want to provide opportunity for growth. I see 12-year-olds on there. I see 16-year-olds on there. I see youth on there. I see 40, 50-year-old people on there. And we want to provide opportunity for growth. I learned within this week something, that there's a difference between growing and getting old. Growth is not automatic. Getting old is automatic. All of us will get old, but I've seen old people that have not grown. If you are to grow, you have to be very intentional about it. If you are to grow as a leader, you have to be very, very intentional about it. And that is why we are creating this opportunity for you to grow in leadership, for you to grow. I'll be defining it today at some point, but for you to grow. Number three, we want to provide mentorship and coaching. And maybe after the next 5 sessions, some of you may feel a deeper need to go another level. We are going to take the opportunity to really mentor you very deeply, and that you will be able to grow the way that you want to grow in your field, in the area where you are leading as well. Number four, we want to create a leadership culture here. We want to create a leadership culture, a way of life a group of people live, where we think as leaders, we act like leaders, we talk like leaders, that God can use to change the status quo and to change the next generation that is coming. Number four or number five, we want to encourage self-leadership. Some of you will be encouraged and empowered to begin to even first of all lead yourself. And also we want to encourage leaders that are resilient and adaptable, especially after COVID. It takes resilience and adaptability for you either to run a ministry, to run a business, to lead a group, or to lead in your workplaces. You have to be resilient, and you have to be really, really adaptable. So our motto is very simple. It is great to be in a position to serve your generation. It is great to be in a position to serve your generation. This is the simple motto that the Empower to Lead has taken, simply to empower you to get out there not in fear, not in timidity, but to rise and to serve. Now, the course outline is going to be like this. Like I said, I'm not sure whether the next 5 weeks, it takes about 6 months to 8 months for me to really take this training masterclass and train to either corporate organizations or to a church group or a church leadership team or so. So the next 1 month that we have or 5 sessions are not going to really do justice to the cause, but at least it is going to cause you to, I want to get you thirsty, basically. I want to get you hungry. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to inspire you. What's the difference? Motivation gets you started, but inspiration gets you going. You see, when you listen to some people who say they are motivational speakers, they can motivate you and get you to start something, but you never continue. But inspiration, it gets you going. So I'm here to inspire you. I'm not here really to feed you, because you can lead a horse to the riverside, but what will get that horse to really drink the water is by making that horse thirsty. And so I'm here to really put some test in you, that you will want to eat something, and you want to rise, and you want to lead. You want to make a difference in your life. You want to make a difference with your youth group. You want to make a difference where you are going. So I'm here to make you thirsty. Now, the first outline is what I intend in the next 5 weeks. Hopefully, it will take us about 5 weeks to look at, which is mandated to lead. So here, we're going to really start with the foundation of leadership and really build it up from there. We're going to look at the foundation of leadership and really build it up from there. So please take note of that. Because many of you are from the Christian cycle, then I will take you into the second outline of the course, if we're able to get there, which is the spiritual leadership. And so here I really focus on what's the difference between spiritual leadership and leading in the corporate world. But you need both. Remember, I talked about balance. So mandated to lead is going to really look at leadership as a whole, wherever you are, as a Christian outside, or even then the second one is spiritual leadership. For those of you who are leading specifically in the church, we are going to take weeks to train you on that. I'm going to also do that. Then the third outline in the course, or the third level in the course, there are 5 levels in the Empower to Lead training program. The third level is what I call the quest of leadership, where we look at the journey of a leader. Now that I've accepted to lead, how do I start? What do I do first? What do I do second? What are the principles of leadership? What are the highest form of leadership? Beyond the foundation of leadership, how do I take my leadership? Maybe you are leading to a high level of leadership. I call it the quest of leadership. And so another topic or another level where we now come back and look at leadership for probably another 6 weeks or so, where we really go deep into it and study the trend and study leaders that have done it very deeply. The fourth level that this program offers is team leadership, where we want to also begin to help you to also raise teams. Like I said, you can see some people in there already. In my leadership, I'm raising a team around me, so that the vision can go beyond and get bigger. And so we will train you on that. But like I said, if we are together, I'm not sure we can do that in the next 4 weeks or in the next 5 sessions. But along the line, as you come on this program and you are tested enough, we are looking at team, how you can build a team and who to look out for, and how you can scale in your leadership, how you can scale and get better results as well. Then the fifth one is going to be what I call mentoring other leaders and legacy building. Something that I have started to do after about 15 to 17 years of leading, is something that I have begun to do. So how can you do it when you also in your leadership, whether in the next 5 years you are going to be a pastor, you are going to ministry, in the next 5 years you are rising up in your own care home or in your own industry of that you seek to lead with that intention we're talking about here. How do you create a legacy so that the vision does not die with you? We are really going to going to go very deep in there as well. Okay. So I will now take you to the mandated to lead, which is the first level. And in it, my first topic is going to be on mankind's original mandate, where I want to inspire you to understand that if you are here, every human being is inspired to lead. Some people ask the question, are leaders born or are leaders made? I believe that the answer is two. And even if you are born a leader, you require training as a leader to really move forward very quickly. Now, everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. If you have a question, like I said, if you have a contribution, if you are picking some golden nuggets so far, I would love you to be sharing them. Those of you in the studios, you can still share yours as well. So don't keep quiet there. I think after about 45 minutes to 50 minutes, we will take about 2 minutes break for you to get something to drink, and then you come back into the class. Okay, so everything rises and falls on leadership. Every nation, every company, every church, every individual that grows or fails to grow is dependent on people who lead at front. It's very important. What I said, when what I've just said, simply also means that nothing happens, nothing changes without leadership. Nothing will happen, nothing will change without leadership. That is why even the creator, God, is, I've told you, is looking to raise a new generation of leaders. I see that many in the past generation have failed, or failed God. Those of us who are coming from Africa, Asia, you will understand what I'm talking very deeply. People have given up even on national leadership. But I see new political leaders rising, and from our side, we will do our bit. I'm having conversation with other people who are catching the same vision that the Lord laid on my heart and also doing the same. So we hope to really train presidents. I won't be surprised to find out that some people in our midst in the next 5 years will be standing for minister for parliament, will be standing very close and taking the trajectory of leading in nations. I can see that very strongly. I believe it because God has said it. And we are just here to make you thirsty to rise, really. So nothing happens, nothing changes, nothing improves without leadership. Nothing improves without leadership. Now, this means that leadership is the source and solution to all problems that we are facing in the world today. The solution to the problems we are facing today is leadership. Now, let me give you a statistics in the church, which you can see on the screen, that studies have shown that in the average church, only about 15 to 20% are active in giving, in leading, and in serving. That is very sad. Now, I give you a scenario which I want you to think about. If you should wake up tomorrow morning, God forbid, and only 20% of your physical body is functioning, what will happen to you? You will virtually be like a vegetable. And something that I believe that you agree with me very strongly. Why? Because you need more than 50 to 20% of your body to really function for you to work. And the same thing, if the church is going to rise and going to be effective in any community, in any society, or in any land, we need more than 50 to 20% to be active in serving, in giving, and in leading. No amount of prayer will change what I've just put on the screen there for you. And this is why even God recognizes to say, hey, train leaders. I want you to train leaders. Don't train a balanced generation for me. Let people rise and take positions. If we are complaining that the political side is ugly, we need to also complain that there are not a lot of genuine Christians that are really taking positions. The time has come for Christian IT consultants to be creating things for us as well. I see Facebook running. Why is it that there is nothing like a Christian Facebook where when we put things on, it is not going to be pulled down? Where are the Christian IT with degrees and all these things? Okay, so this is why we need more people to rise, because at the moment Not just 15, 20 are active in the church. 15, 20 are perhaps active in the political side. 15, 20 are active in the medical side. So we need more percentage, a higher percentage of leaders to rise. And the earlier you see yourself is very, 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 very encouraging, that you see yourself in that capacity and in that dimension, so that what God is willing to do, we can make that influence, and we can make that principle going forward. Okay, all right. So there are many leadership theories and principles. There are many leadership theories. Before I come into the 7 key things I want to share with you, there are many leadership principles and theories on the subject of leadership. So when we talk of leadership, leadership is very broad. For instance, there is what we call autocratic leadership. Idi Amin was an autocratic leader. Those of you from Africa, you normally don't see this type of leadership in Europe, but in Africa, there are autocratic leaders that will want to lead and let their children come and lead. There is democratic leader, which we see all over in Europe and in Africa, where we vote and then leaders are picked. There are transformational leaders. There are some leadership skills or leaders that lead and they bring transformation. There is the laissez-faire and situational leadership. The word laissez-faire represents, it's a French word that talks about situations. So situations give birth to leaders. And I hope that COVID will give birth, after COVID will give birth to more leaders. The problems we are talking about give birth to more leaders. The best of them that I believe, the best of leadership that really have a bit of all these things together, the best of them that I believe that you are going to experience in this training program, but the one that stands out for me is the concept of servant leadership. Is a concept of servant leadership. And this is the bedrock of this training manual. So the bedrock of this training manual is servant leadership, and the reason is because we have a bit of all the good sides, with the exception of autocracy. But when we look at the servant leader, we look at transformational. We look at laissez-faire in the form of situations that will give birth to leaders and stuff like that. Now, this idea of servant leadership is based on the leadership philosophy and the school of thought of a young Jewish rabbi whose name many of you know as Jesus Christ, who used this concept to build the greatest organization on earth up to this day, through 12 people that he poured in, who also found others to empower them to continue. So if you look at the outline of the Empower to Lead, it is the same things that this Jewish young man who lived for just 33 years was able to do. Those are the skills and the principles that I have pulled together over the last 17 years to really come to this Empower to Lead training program. Now, the funny thing is that today, some of us have even become employees of his organization. And for those of you who don't know, the church is the greatest organization on earth. The church is the greatest organization on earth. Before Google, there was the church. Before Facebook, there was the church. The church is the greatest organization on earth. And some of us are employees of that organization. And so if success, they say, leaves footprints. And if you and I can study the same principles, can study the same skills that has made the church of the greatest institution on earth, then we can also build some great things on earth. That is why we are here. Okay? Now, to be an effective leader, one must constantly pursue training. To be an effective leader, one must constantly pursue training. Very, very important. To be an effective leader, one must constantly do what? One must constantly pursue training. And that is why what I said from the beginning and what we are doing is in sync and is line. Here we want to train you. Like I said, I want to make you testy. I'm not here to motivate you. I want to inspire you even though you believe that you cannot lead, you believe that you are the lowest, you believe that you are inferior, yet you'll be testy enough to really rise and really lead. Okay, to really rise and really lead. And that is why I am here today. There's a scripture in the Bible, let me borrow from Luke chapter 6, verse 40. It says that a student is not greater than the teacher, but when the student becomes fully trained, the student becomes like the teacher. Okay? A student, when he's fully trained, the student becomes like the teacher. And so I believe that if we can take these 7 leadership principles and lessons, we can also become like that Jesus that led on earth, made impact on earth, and also in our time and in our generation, also do what we can do to call on people and also to become who I believe strongly that God wants us to lead. Okay, now I move you to the first topic where I talk about mankind's dominion mandate. In other words, every human being is authorized to lead. And I want to share 7 very core principles. The first 3 that you can see on the screen. You can see the first one on the screen. You can see the first one on the screen. Number 1, every man, every woman. When I use the word man, I mean male and female. So for gender balance sake, please understand. Again, is there any question? Very quickly, if you have any question, please throw it in there. If you have any contribution, please throw it in there. If you are learning something, especially if there are no questions, that means I'm really doing great and that you are learning a lot. What have you learned so far? As I go forward, I want you to type it in your comment section. What have you learned so far that if we should finish right now, you are taking home? This is a class, this is a master class. So I want to hear from you. What are you learning so far? Those of you who are in the studio, when I finish, you are going to take a minute to tell us what you have learned. And all the leaders on the platform, please get ready. So please type it in. But if you are in the studio, get ready. You are going to speak to me. So what have you learned so far as we are moving forward that you personally are going to think and going to take out from here? So as it's coming on your comment section, the technical team will alert me when it comes. But I want to move very quickly into mankind's dominion mandate, which is the second topic under the first level. I am still on mandated to lead. And I want to now move into 7 dominion statements that really speaks about you, to encourage you, to empower you, to inspire you, whether you are a young one, to really go forward. This is my daughter. I can see, I think she's using my accounts. She is 12 years old. I have my son, 7-year-old, and my 10-year-old and 8-year-old also all watching, because I believe that these are all part of the generation. So if you have children, let them sit by you. They may not understand it, but they can get something along the way. We are sowing the seed. Now, Christian says that we must take advantage of the principles of Jesus. We must take advantage of the principles of Jesus. So that is one thing that we have said that Christian is putting forward to. Edward, Mr. Texan is giving us a very big question that will really throw me off the board. Why is Africa lacking visionary leaders? Why is Africa lacking visionary leaders? Now, that is a very powerful question, one that I think we will address. The reason for that is one of the reasons why we are doing this. So remember when I began, I said that God wants us to raise a new generation of leaders. Because coming from where I am coming from, we are very disappointed in our leaders. And that is where I believe that this question is coming from. We can become leaders. When I start defining leaders, you will now see the kind of leadership that we need, which we lack. Africa is lacking visionary leaders. If you have any contribution there, you can look at it. The reason is because we are having leaders that seek power but does not want to empower the next generation. And when that mindset of leading is wrong, then we will lack visionary leaders. So that is why in Africa right now, based on the question, we have leaders that we call them leaders, but the purpose and the mind leading, the reason why we don't have visionary leaders is because they only think of self and not think of others. This is one of the core reasons why Africa is lacking visionary leaders. Not because we can't build great leaders, but then we are not able to do what? We are not able to raise the kind of leaders I believe that we are being called to raise. So that is one of the core things. People are self-centered rather than being selfless. So remember, number two, we lack visionary leaders because of the type of leadership that we have. So I mentioned autocratic leaders and autocratic leadership, where people go into leadership with the mindset of autocracy. Autocracy is me, myself, and I. I want to take it all, and then I want my children to come and take. Again, this is the reason for the Empower to Lead training program. Number three, Africa is lacking visionary leaders because those who are supposed to have the kind of vision we are talking about on this platform are not taking the position of leadership. So when I get to the seventh point, you will get a deeper understanding. You'll get a deeper understanding. So these are some of the reasons why I believe that Africa is lacking visionary leaders. If you also have a reason there, you can put it down there. So one is autocracy. Number two is that self-centeredness. Number three is to seek power, but not to empower and to think about the next generation. And I believe that as we move on, there we can make exceptions. Somewhere in Kenya, I believe that Rwanda are having good leaders now that are thinking of the next generation, and they are putting things in order. I understand that Kenya, for instance, those of us from Africa, is the cleanest city and cleanest nation in Africa, and that and it all comes from leadership. And so these are the reasons. Again, like I said, those of us who are to rise to leadership positions are not rising to leadership positions. The Bible says that when the righteous is in power, the people rejoice. So God is really, really interested in leadership, because from Genesis to Revelation, he picked leaders, ordinary men, and picked them. Look at the servant leadership secret of Christ. 12 disciples that were ordinary that he picked. Okay, so some of us hopefully won't have to be thirsty, Eddie, to go into politics and make a difference. And I know that is going to be very difficult, but I believe strongly that the more we talk about this, the more churches, institutions begin to take this on. And that's why in the next 40 years, I will be going to different places, ministries, churches, companies, to begin to impact this level of education. And hopefully we can do something. We can make a change. That's what I would say. Dorothy is on there. She says that growth is intentional and we must constantly pursue trading. Thank you. If you are on there and you are also learning something, please let me know, and then we will look at all of that. So if you can see on your screen, the first mandate. When I talk of mandate, I'm talking about you have been mandated or you have been given authority to do something. Every human being. The word dominion is ability. The word mandate is legal. So when I put it together, I say every human being is legally authorized to lead. Okay? The question is, how are you leading? That is the question. Okay? And that's why we need training to be able to lead. So having mentioned the different types of leadership skills in the world right now, I single out on servant leadership because of the strength that is in it. And I believe that if a servant leader should become a president of a nation, that nation will rejoice in a very, very strong, a very, very mighty way. Okay, so number one, because of time, um, I believe that we should go on a break. Okay, we are going to take a break for 2 minutes. I want you to get something to drink, and then we come back. And when we come back, over the next 30, 40 minutes that we are going to start from this area and then pick it up from there. So I'm going to give a break for you to think about what you have heard. Thank you for all your comments that has come, and then we will pick it up. So see you in exactly 2 minutes. Welcome back. I hope that you have had a bit of time to refresh yourself and that we can keep going. So let's get yourself a cup of tea or something or a drink and just sip as we go along. That is wonderful. So yes, I think somebody have just said in the comment. Yes, brother Joseph says that everything rises and falls on leadership. Very, very powerful, strong point. And you may not get everything that we're saying, but if you can pick one thing from here, that is beautiful. So as people are sharing what they are learning, maybe you're also picking something up from there. So we've had a question that we've answered. And hopefully, as we go about it, we will get more answers to that question. And for me, One of the reasons why we are doing what we are doing is because of that question that our brother really asked, which is a very powerful question that we are picking up from here, so that we many of us have been taking the back seat for a long time, and I'll talk more about that. If the right people don't rise to lead, the wrong people will lead, and when power is in the hands of the wrong person, then it's going to be a very big issue as well. Okay, yes. So we come back again to the mandated to lead, as I shared very quickly. And the reason why I believe that we are mandated to lead. Now, for those of us who want to write the scriptures down, it is in the book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 to 28, and then also Psalm 8, 4 to 6. Today, I'm not really going to open scriptures, but I've not also hidden it from you that everything I've learned about leadership is from the Bible. And you can be a very great leader in your organization, in your institution, through the Bible. Really, very true. People ask me, what is your secret? I've stood in front of bankers, I've stood in front of parliamentarians, and I get this question a lot: what is your secret? The secret is the Bible, and I will not hide from you. So whether you are a corporate person or you are in the church, please take note of these things and understand that you are legally authorized. You are legally authorized. I want you to write this down. I am legally authorized to lead. Okay, what kind of leadership or what kind of area you are going to lead is what we are going to go deep into it. But I want you to write it down. If you want to write it in your comment section, better. You are legally authorized to lead. Okay, you are legally authorized to lead. You start by leading yourself. I'll give you so many examples. If you get married, then you begin to lead in your marriage. When you have children, you begin to lead your children, your grandchildren. So every human being, whether you like it or not, you are legally authorized to lead. That is what I mean by my dominion mandate. Number one, every man, the reason is because every man is made in the image of God, as you can see on your screen. God is a leader, and if we are in his image, then that leadership tendency is in us. Unless you believe that you come from apes, which I don't believe. But if you believe, I'm not here to argue with you on that. As long as you believe very strongly that you are in the image of God, then what the first thing you need to understand to really get you thirsty and hungry is that every man is made in the image of God. And God is a leader. So automatically you are a leader. Yeah. Number two, yes, thank you. Every human being is legally authorized to lead. I'll leave that on for a little bit. Please, if you guys can help me to make it a bit smaller, that will be great. Yes. Yeah. Every human being is legally authorized to lead. That's what we mean by mandated to lead. So when we call you to lead, don't shake and don't run away. And that's the reason why we are doing this. Again, that's the reason why wrong people have gotten into Africa. And wrong people have gotten into leadership. Number two, every man is crowned with glory and honor. If you look at the two scriptures I gave you, the greatest seed one can sow is the seed of honor. So when you take up leadership, you have honored God. That's the greatest way. Imagine if Moses wouldn't have led that generation. Imagine if Gideon wouldn't have led. Imagine if Nelson Mandela wouldn't have led his nation. So the greatest honor for somebody here to understand is the seed of the greatest seed is the seed of honor. And when you can pick up most of the things that we are sharing here strongly, I promise you, God will be proud of you. We can know it. It's very clear. God is going to be proud of you. Okay. Number three, Every man is in charge of everything God has created, including our children. Like I said, how well our children grow up is even part of leadership. So some of us are on there. You will be training the next generational leaders in the form of your children. How you were able to build them. Like I told you, my children are watching here. Why? Because I am responsible of their growth. So I take this opportunity also to speak to parents very, very clearly. Every man is in charge of everything God has created. So we are in charge of the trees. God is not going to come down to do it for us. We are in charge of the roads. God is not going to come down to do it for us. And this all connotes to leadership, that when men rise to lead and lead well, like we want to push and encourage many of you here really strongly, the nations are going to be better. Problems are going to be solved, really. So that's the third legal mandate of you as a human being. And here I'm not even looking at a Christian. I'm looking at you as a human being. That's why I use the word mankind. Number 4, wisdom, integrity, love, and discernment is a mandate. The reason why Africa is not having over the years is because our leaders are not wise. Our leaders have no integrity. There is no love, which I gave you, and there is no discernment. So remember the 10 things I shared with you, that God says, this is the characteristics of the men that I want them leading. You find out that it takes wisdom, it takes integrity, it takes love, it takes discernment. Whether you are leading yourself, whether you are leading at home, whether you are being given position in politics, whether you are going into ministry, wisdom, integrity is a requirement for you to activate these things. Are you getting it? Okay, number 5, we are to lead in the area of our assignment. So remember I told you about purpose, which I'll be talking more about. I need a whole time to do that, but for those of you who want that, you have to go and register on my coaching program. That is separate. Purpose is separate from leadership, but you must lead with a purpose. So if you don't have a purpose, you cannot lead. And another reason is in Africa is this. Is this. And I hope that as little as this might look at like, I hope that we'll be able to pour something in you to help you to really pick something up from here. Go about 20 minutes with you. And wherever we are going to end, no problem. Next week, we are going to continue in the second masterclass. So we are to lead in the area of our purpose, or in the area of our assignment. So you need to find your assignment first, and then you begin to lead from there. When it comes to your purpose, the responsibility remains on you. And I hope that we will inspire somebody to get a deeper understanding. Okay. Somebody, Ayo, says that leadership, he sent me one of the leaders, the students leaders here says that leadership is a divine operation directed towards orderly direction and preservation, and not human ideology. Very deep stuff that he has shared with us. Let's see whether the team can copy it and put it on the comment section as well. Sister Mama Glennis, fantastic. Mama Glennis says that, Pastor, thank you for reminding us that to lead for Christ, we must have 7 hearts, which the pastors of New Joy show every week. Praise Jesus. Thank you. So that is Neil. Neil, thank you for that. And Neil, I think, like you rightly said, this is the leadership secret that we are using in the ministry. And if you are a pastor on the line, or you are a church leader on the line, that is a testament for you. This one is coming from one of the student leaders, who says that leadership is a divine operation directed towards orderly direction and preservation, and not a human ideology. So, as we are talking about mankind's dominion mandate, he feels that leadership is not a human ideology. And I think, like we have said, God is a leader. And so leadership comes from that dimension of he being in the image. Whether you are yours is going to be in the banking sector, this is what we want you to understand. Orderly direction, operations that will bring change into the world. And hopefully, as we go forward and define leadership, hopefully we will be able to pick more on. So thank you for your comments. You are picking a lot on, and we remember what we said. The strategy is to create a leadership culture, and the more we talk about it, the more we raise the positive leaders that can have impact in the nations, impact in the church, and like I said, in a balanced way, impact beyond every dimension as well. Okay, yeah. So I come back to the sixth point. We will be judged by how we lead ourselves and others, because we are mandated. Anything you are mandated to do, you will be judged. Okay, the world needs your leadership. I'm not saying this in a negative way. If you know that you'll be judged in an area, imagine if, like I said, Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King Jr. wouldn't have led his generation in America or in South Africa. Okay, what would have happened? So we will be judged by how we lead ourselves and others. Please take note of that. And the question that somebody asked, the African leaders will be judged by how they have led and how they are doing it. The Mugabes, the Idi Amins, you can mention them. They will receive their judgment. So the world needs your leadership positively. This is where I want to come from. And for the world to become a better place and a better world, if we can, we need to raise new generational leaders beyond the church. For me, my problem with the church is like what I said, we have neglected the principles of the Christ, and we are so much into the person of the Christ. There's nothing wrong with it, but we need a balance. We need the two. Okay, we need the two. I believe so. We need leaders in the banks. We need leaders in the financial institution. We need leaders in IT that will with AI and all these things that is coming up. Where are Christian leaders that can use it for the benefit of souls? We need them in there to begin to do that. So for those who are students, especially for us, all the ones with me, they are students. All students, please hear me and hear me well. And this is what we are doing, what we are doing. We want you to rise to leadership, and we want you to one day become the president of your nation, and not let God be disappointed. Number 7, even though that this mandate has been given to us, the sad thing is that not everyone discovers this mandate to lead. Many people run away from leadership. Many people run away from leadership and end up denying the world of great service. So the question again that somebody asked, why is Africa failing on visionary leaders? Because people have not taken upon themselves their legal right to lead. So, like I said, when wrong people take this on, because it can be positive, it can be negative. If God will raise leaders, the devil will also raise leaders. So I am here for the good, positive leadership, key people God can raise. This is my heartbeat for the next 40 years as part of what I'm doing. And like I said, this is the reason why for the very, very first time, I am doing something like this. Really. I do it, but you pay for it before I do it. But this time it says, go and do it for free the next 1 month. And then after that, we have the leadership conference. And because I believe that we are in the time of fulfillment. No, we are not in the time of prophecy. We are in the time of fulfillment. So there needs to be fulfillment of leaders within the next 3 to 5 years. Very strongly. So if you are on there, please, it does not matter your age. If you can push yourself there, like I said, growth is different from being old. And I'd rather grow than become old and irrelevant. Very, very strongly. Okay, so I'll take you to the topic, the third topic under mandated to lead. Remember what we have done? We've done an introduction, and I've shown you the first level of being mandated, or your dominion mandate. 7 of them I've just said, and then I've given you the vision, the purpose of what we are doing, and then the third topic under the first level is what is leadership? The very important question. Now, there are about 10 key definitions that I am going to share with you. I don't think I'm going to share all of them because we have only about 10 to 15 minutes. I want to finish in 10 minutes and get the students there to speak on what they have learned very, very quickly as well. So the question now is, what is leadership? That is the question I want us to look at. What is leadership? Very quickly, let me see how far we can go. And no rushing, because we are going to continue from there. What is leadership? What is leadership? Very, very quickly. What is leadership? Yeah. Number 1. I hope that you can see it very clearly. Let me make it a bit bigger. What is leadership? Now, this is my first definition of leadership. Leadership is influence. We have seen that you are mandated to lead. Now I'll take you to what is leadership. Leadership is influence. The ability of one person to influence the other. That is leadership. So somebody wondering what is leadership? This is leadership. The ability of one person to influence the other. One man can lead others to the extent that he can influence them. One man can lead others to the point that he can influence them. So when I say that God is raising leaders in the banking sector, leaders in the church, leaders in the medical sector, leaders in every hospitality institutions, nurses, you have to see yourself as a leader. Why? In other words, when you become that nurse in that, you are to influence. The ability of one person to influence the other is the core of your dominion mandate. Now, one of the scriptures I want to write down is Matthew chapter 5, verse 13 to 16, and I'll read it from here. I will use this to define what I'm talking about. You are the salt of the earth, but what good is salt if it has lost its flavor? Can you make it salty again? It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. Verse 14, he says, you are the light of the world. I'm quoting the words of Jesus, the greatest leader. Like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father. Now, the first question I ask is, what has salt and light have in common? Salt and light, as Jesus said, they have one thing in common, and that is influence. The ladies on the line there will attest to this, that when you are cooking a very nice meal and then you have done everything without salt, the food does not taste really good. But when you add a little bit of salt, what the salt does is that the salt influences the food. This is how leadership looks like. The men here will understand this. You are about to enter into your house and your wife realizes that the whole house is in darkness at 8 o'clock. Because he's afraid, he tells you, go because you are the man. When you press on the light and the light shines, it takes away fear. What has the light done? The light has influenced the darkness. So leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. The ability of one person to influence the other. That is why everything rises and falls on leadership. It rises on leaders because when the leader is leading right, things are better. It falls on leadership, because if the leader is failing to lead right, that is also going to make things worse. So there are 5 statements that I have put down for you there. Every leader is like salt. That's the first one. In other words, as salt, we must add taste to a situation, whether good or bad. So God is calling you into the student leadership. You remember, you are like salt. You are going there on that university campus to add taste to the university campus, not bitterness. You are a banker and you are on the line being trained right now. What I mean is that you are to add taste. You are to add taste to that banking field there. You are in politics not to put money in your pocket, not to make money for only you. You are to add taste to empower the nations. And when you pick on the leadership secret and the skills that Jesus used, you will get exactly that. So that's why we are talking about servant leadership here. Please get understanding. Number 2, a leader must not lose value. I've gone very, very far. If you are to influence, you must not lose value. And so those of us who are leaders need to ask the question, am I losing value, or am I adding value? Am I losing flavor, or am I adding flavor? And many leaders and many churches and many organizations have lost flavor. So I'm here to just put that test inside of you. And for those of us who are about to start our leadership journey, or you must pray, you must work, you must train so that you don't lose value. Number 3, value leadership by not becoming worthless. Because when salt is worthless, it is thrown away. Value leadership by not becoming worthless. So that now that we have put a position in your hands, you must value it. You must place emphasis on it. If not, you will become worthless. And that is in one of the definitions of leaders that I'll point it to you. We have presidents that have become worthless to the people. We have Christians that have become worthless in the place of where they are. Number 3, don't hide as a leader, rather shine a light in this world. Don't hide as a leader, rather shine in this world. Somebody say, oh, God help me not to lose my saltiness. Very powerful. We are now getting deeper. Don't hide as a leader, rather shine a light in this world. And for the last 17 years, I called people into leadership. And when we are calling them, they say, no, I can't do it. No, not me, not me. If you're a pastor on this trail, you understand what I'm talking about. Oh, I can see you sing. No, not me. No, you are hiding. And I hope that whatever little position that has been placed in your hands, you will not hide. Because I've seen somebody raise a prayer, oh God, help me, Ayo, help me not to lose what? Not to lose saltiness. A lot of leaders are losing salt. It's very, very, very important. Very, 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 very important. Very, 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 very important. Okay, so I want you to get this. Number 5, lead to bring glory and honor to God, not to your family, not to the world. And again, I come back to that very important question that a brother asked. If the leaders of nations in Africa would lead like we are teaching here, I don't think that question you ask will be relevant. But that question is relevant because they are not leading to bring glory to God, they are leading to bring glory to man. We can't change that. So God says, raise a new generation of leaders. Please get understanding. And this is why we are doing this. So that tomorrow when you get into politics, you need to bring glory to God. And if we can have 100 leaders in politics with this understanding, 100 leaders in bank with this understanding, God have mercy. You will see the power of leadership, which I will teach at the Quest of Leadership. Please get understanding. Number 2, What is leadership? Number two, leadership is the willingness to serve others with your gift. I've got about 3 minutes, and maybe I'll end on the third one probably. Leadership is the willingness to serve others with your gift. So, number one, leadership is influence. When one action influences the other, and I look at salt from scriptures, again, permit me to look at Mark chapter 10, verse 45, which says that for even Jesus, the Son of Man, came not to be served, but to serve others and to give his life as a ransom for many, not for himself. Another problem in Africa, or another problem that we have identified. Eddie now comes back. Abba, thank you. Abba says, Father, give me the grace not to hide to any leadership role in your kingdom. Thank you very much, because many people have been hiding for a long time. But hopefully with this, like I said, you will be testy, and with training, you will be able to rise in that capacity. So leadership is the willingness to serve others with your gift. Jesus said it. I did not come for you to serve me. I came to serve you. So when you are in a leadership position, you are not there for people to serve you. You are there for you to serve the people. Now, if you look at autocratic leadership, this is not autocratic leadership, where others serve you. So leadership is the willingness to serve others. This is the type of leadership I am recommending to you, whether you are in politics, whether you are in the church, whether you are in the medical field, whether you are in the hospitality industry, and nurses, doctors, engineers. Come on, this is what I'm talking about. With this mindset, you will change the status quo. This is the secret to new joy and what we are doing. The willingness to serve others with your gift. Now, there's something that Simon Sinek said. He said, human beings have thrived over 50,000 years, not because we are driven to serve ourselves, but because we are inspired to serve others. And I'll say it again. Human beings have thrived, so Jesus is right in what he said in Mark 10:45. And from the corporate world, this is what they have discovered. Human beings have thrived over 50,000 years, not because we are driven to serve ourselves, but because we are inspired to serve others. This is a principle that if a nation gets it right, that nation prospers. If the nation leaders get it wrong, that nation suffers. Okay? So please look at that statement there. Now, the key here is the willingness and commitment to serve. Without this, you cannot serve people, whether in the church, whether in an organization, whether in a nation. The key is the willingness to serve others. So like Abba said, I've been hiding. Now give me the will. This is perhaps that's in the church. You need to ask yourself. Those of us, you see, I just did a vetting process in the students' leadership, and I had to meet all of them. And all of them on the line, they will recognize that when I was speaking with them, I was looking for the willingness and the commitment. It's not that I am not there yet, which I'll come to that. It's the willingness and commitment. You see, God does not call the qualified to leadership, but when you are willing to serve and use your gift, God now qualifies the call. That is leadership. Very, very, very quickly, because of time. Number 3, leadership is solving problems and creating solutions. Again, I will take you. This will be the last one. I have 10 definitions to give you, but because of time, I'm going to stop on the third one. I want to keep to time. I know that there are people in the corporate world that are joining us, and time is everything to a leader, and I will respect that as well very, very strongly. So we are going to stick to 1.5 hours, 1 hour, 35 minutes, and I'm done. If you have any questions very quickly, please use the comment section. Don't wait till the end because I'm not going to answer them. And then I'm going to open up for the leaders that are joining in the studio to speak a minute each. I want to hear from them. I want them to learn. and you to speak by using your comment section very, very carefully. So leadership is solving problems and creating solutions. We need leaders. That is leadership. When you go to a church and there is a problem, how do I know leaders? The unleading people, they criticize and they are bitter and they complain. Leaders begin to solve the problem. And personally, this is one of the criteria for me selecting leaders. So if you are in the ministry, please get understanding. I don't select leaders because you look very nice. I don't select leaders because you have money. I select leaders because when you came to the church and there is a problem, you solved it and you kept solving it. So I come to you and say, hey, I want you to be a leader because I see leadership tendency in you. Because leadership is solving problems and creating solutions. Look at how Jesus said about himself. Luke 4 verse 18. He says, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to solve problems. Watch it. To bring good news to the poor. Solution. He sent me to proclaim that the captives will be released. Solution. That the blind will see. Solution. That the oppressed will be set free. Solution. So Jesus is saying here that he came for 33 years on earth, that all the problems I mentioned about, he solved them. If we are to be great leaders, we need leaders that will solve problems and create solutions. So there is a problem in the university where you are being called to lead. Your leadership capacity is to solve a problem. That by the time that your tenure has ended, we should be able to see that this is the problem that you solved. Now, talking to this brings me about the 3 top secrets of every leader. If you are to be a leader, this is the 3 top secrets. It's on the screen. They all start with C. Number 1, you are to create solutions to problems. Remember the first principle I told you, or the first characteristics to the new leaders God is raising. God is not raising leaders that are going to make up the problem. God is raising leaders that will see opportunities in problems. So with this definition, it brings out the 3 top secrets of every leader. Number 1, you must be willing to create solutions to problems. Number 2, you must connect with others who need the solution. So when you have created a solution to a problem, then you connect with others who need solutions. So let me give you a very quick example. We have created a solution to a problem in university right now, where we have picked leaders. They are on with me here. You can see some of them. Now, what now needs to be done is that they need to now connect with students who need the solution the university have. Somebody coming to university from Asia, Africa, Kuwait, does not know his way about. There is a solution that has been solved. Somebody is there who connect with them. That is leadership. Number 3, to contribute value to your community. This is what makes you a leader. To contribute value to your community. These 3 top secrets, as you are living here, really will help you in any field that you are. I was just coaching a team this week, and in the coaching, I realized they felt they had hit a plateau. And so we began to look at this top secret, and it opened something up. So maybe you are in the IT industry. You are watching me. You are a leader. What do? Create solutions to problems. Don't sit down and wait. Why don't you set up a team, a group? Why don't you set up a free webinar where you help other people to have basic solutions to their IT or to their internet or to their website? By doing that, you are connecting with them to solve solutions, to bring solutions. And when you contribute to your community, when we are looking for somebody for a big contract, your name will pop up because you lead in that area. It's not about having money in my pocket. Look at the 3rd one. You contribute to your community. So as a leader, what are you contributing to your community? One of the young leaders in the church told me something. He said, Pastor, I said, yes, I've discovered what the university is looking out from us. I said, what it is? What is it? He said, at the end of the year, for us to get an award, the university is looking at what we are doing to benefit students on campus. I said, that is the core secret in leadership. So don't sit there and say you are a leader. How are you connecting with others? And what are you contributing to your community? This is the understanding that is helping us as a ministry to do the free what meal. If we want to make impact, we must lead. If not, the church becomes irrelevant. Okay, so this is where we are going to end today. I believe that you have learned a lot. Joseph, you are first to go. Ayo, blessing, if we can see your face, that is great. I want you to share with us what you have learned very quickly. I want you to share with us what you have learned very quickly in a minute. Those of us who are also watching also can share what you have learned very quickly. I want us to interact and then we go. So I go to the prayer secretary of the church, Pastor Joseph. Great stuff that you are doing. Please, let's hear something from you very quickly.
Thank you so much, Sir Pastor Kofi, our mentor. I want to appreciate you for the time you've taken to really do a justice to on leadership. Personally, I learned that leadership is all about sacrifices. As a leader, you must be ready to go extra mile. And then if you want to become a leader, you must be intentional about leadership. Leadership has to do with you have to personally make up your mind. You must be very intentional about it. And then you also made mention of growth is different from being old. So you can be 60 years, you can be 70 years, yet you are not fulfilled, you are not fulfilling purpose. So growth, you cannot use growth to scale the level of achievement. You can only use purpose to scale your level of achievement. And you also made mention that everything rises and falls on leadership, which I noted that very serious. So you also made mention of salt and light. What I just wrote on my book, salt and light is equal to influence. So and leadership is basically all about influence. And leadership is, you also said, is a willingness to serve others with your gifts. Leadership is solving problems. Leadership creates solutions to problems. Connect with others who need the solutions, and so on and so forth.
Thank you so much. I want to get somebody to also come on. Yeah, thank you so much. Ayo, please help us very quickly. Yes. Thank you so much. Ayo, your microphone is muted.
Oh,
yeah, we can hear you.
Much, Pastor Kofi.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the wisdom and the grace of God upon your life, even for this class. Yeah, in the place of leadership, you made mention of something. You said leadership, it's servanthood. It actually requires a high level of service. That is a brilliant one. Yeah, of course. If one is not ready even to serve or to subject himself to becoming a servant of all, then there is no need for the person to actually lead, because leadership itself is divine, and the process of divinity, God himself even made himself available even to serve, to make things available. He works even in the favor of man. So if a man cannot actually stand and say you want to sacrifice something because of other people, and there is no reason for the person even to handle the position of leadership. And you also made mention of something which I actually see. I wrote it here as the spice of leadership. That is just the major ingredients that makes leadership, or even makes one to be able to serve effectively, which is wisdom, integrity, love, and discernment. Without love, the truth of the matter is it will be very hard even to serve others. And also with patience and perseverance. Leadership actually requires this high level of tolerance, higher level of relationship, the ability to make, to be able to solve problems regardless of the situation, no matter how tight, no matter how tough it might actually look. Being patient and the ability to work with others. And that is, I'm really blessed. I'm really blessed.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think within the next 5 weeks, we are all going to learn a lot. I can see some comments coming through. Keep your comments coming through. Yes, Divine, very quickly, you have 60 seconds. What have you picked up? Your mic? Yes, very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that session, sir. I think the first thing that stood out to me from the training was the solution to mankind's problem is good leadership. And that will take me back to the question that somebody asked about the Africa's why is Africa's leadership that why is it bad? And it's mainly because and something just came to my mind that if they had the right training, because as a leader, you said you have to understand your purpose also. You need the right training, and like you said, to be an effective leader, you need to constantly train yourself. And there must be a level of commitment you need to have. It is not just a feeling that, oh, I feel like doing this. It's a commitment and the willingness to do something every time. And you must constantly put others before yourself. It's basically sacrifice, like you said. It's more or less like a commitment to other people. You must put others, consider other people because you are leading other people. So, and when you do that, the honor comes naturally. You don't have to force them. If you don't do that, like you said, most people in Africa, they don't value who leads them because they've not led them in the right way. They've not
Yeah.
shown them the right way of leadership. So, with the right leadership, I think the honor comes in naturally. Even when you go, they say something good about you. Yes. Thank you. And then also one last thing, you also said that you need the right ability to influence other people. You need to influence other people positively. That one is a very important aspect. As a leader, you have to deposit good values into your subjects and say that they learned this and they learned this from you. Thank you, sir.
Powerful. Thank you so much. That's very powerful. Sister Blessing, if you're on there, please unmute yourself and let us know if we can see your beautiful face. Fantastic. Sister Dorothy, one of the leaders, says that the similarity between light and salt is influence. As leaders, we need to use our gift to influence and impact generations. Thank you. Please, if you are also on there, you pick something up, share it. Like we said, it's not about hiding anymore. It's really with this, I want to get you out there. Okay. So I want to hear from this young generation of leaders that are rising mightily for the nations as well. Sister Blessing, we give you 60 seconds.
Okay, thank you everyone for this wonderful forum to be here and be impacted on. It's a wonderful topic on leadership, and every day we learn and we relearn and we unlearn. So it's been a good opportunity. Also, I was able to pick up that for you to be a good leader, you should be willing to make sacrifices because times will come where you have to make tough decisions. And if you don't have the right training and you're not being, you weren't called to serve, you might make wrong decisions, which could affect the larger population. And so, as a good leader, you should also be very careful. You should be willing to listen because leaders, there are some attributes that come with leadership. You should be able to listen because while listening, sometimes you get the solution to the problem that each individual is facing. But when you don't listen, you might get the solution, but not the solution to the problem that individual came with. And I also took notes that as a leader, you should be able to delegate. Even in the Bible, Jesus Christ had disciples for delegation because the work of a leader is cumbersome. It's too much, and not only you can take it up because when you take up so much of that, you tend to break down in the long run. So as a leader, you should be able to make appointments, appoint others to also help you in these roles. And in that process, you're training those other people and you're retraining yourself as an individual because you can't get it all. You can't do it all. And one way or the other, you tend to learn from those other people who you have under you as a subordinate. Because even if we take it to the managerial aspect, as a manager, even as though you are in the top office making those leadership roles, you will not know what the subordinates are going through, except you have somebody within that floor to give you an eye opening of what is happening there. So that way you're able to implement what's happening down there to the upper place and then make better policies that affect everybody. So you need to contribute ask
Thank
opinions,
you so much.
make it a forum where everybody's allowed to freely share ideas. And that way you hear things that you don't normally hear. You get wisdom from different things. You know those who are good at
Yeah.
the particular aspects, and you know how to say, okay, you are in charge of this. I can see you have more manpower in this thing. That way you reduce stress and you train these people and you let them be free and be leaders like you. So that also comes with a part of influence and impact. Because when you're influencing these people positively and you're also impacting on
Thank
their lives, because they are learning from you and they also know that it's not only going to be there. And whenever you step away or you're not around, they can still take up this leadership aspects that you have bestowed upon them
Thank
and
you.
act as though you
Thank
are
you,
there.
Blessing.
Yes.
Wow, powerful stuff. And next week we are going to be back as well. So please take note. Next week, please, if you have not registered and if you know somebody that will be of benefit to, please, I will say that do that and encourage others to also come and benefit within the next 5 sessions. One of the leadership in the church, Sister Angela, Sister Angie is the head of the Free Hot Meal, doing some great stuff in the community. She says that leadership is service. Leadership is finding and being part of the solution. Hallelujah. That's fantastic. It's not about talking about the problems. Remember what we have said today is about being part of the solutions. As this course is running, we're going to run to the end of August, where the youth conference is also coming up. The youth conference is coming up. I think you can see it on the screen as well. Plans are ahead. We are tasking the youth to lead, and like we said, it's a season of manifestation. So we're going to take most of the things that we are doing here to put down there. And like our sister Blessings said, one of the reasons why we are doing this, if you are part of a church, is so that you don't just go and sit down. Don't go to church and sit down. Serve, and don't run away from it. Serve as well. So we are finishing. Thank you. I think Eddie has spoken something. The team will help us. It says we should learn to lead selflessly. That's a very powerful statement that we have picked up today as well. We should learn to lead selflessly. Okay, so on this note, we are ending. Take note of the students on the youth conference that is coming up. Very, very quickly. The date is Friday, 25th of August to the Sunday, 27th of August. The days are on there. I think as the days draw near, we are going to be talking more about this. So if you're a young person and then you are on there, please take note of that. Our Life for Purpose Youth Conference. The team is Flames of Fire. Then we have different speakers that are there, some young speakers that are coming up, and other people that are coming up. So please book book the date in your calendar. The address is our church venue, which is the 25 Innsway BD80LEU. So it's been a wonderful time being with you and with the team, and also with you. I believe that we have all shared and learned something as well. So we are leaving here because of time, and we'll be back hopefully in the next masterclass next week. And I believe that it's going to be great. Shalom, peace, and new joy to you. Bye-bye.